Welcome to the Fundamentals of Video Game Design and Programming, Episode 5, Understanding Projects. And the most obvious question, what is a project? Nothing more than the games that we create. In Construct 3, everything we do that pertains to a project results in our game. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at 1, the project bar. Within Construct 3, we have a project bar that houses all the objects and elements of our game. And secondly, we're going to take a look at how to create new projects and save projects in the Construct 3 GUI. I am your instructor, Mr. Art Williams. This is a program brought to you by Youth Decoded. Youth Decoded is a signature initiative created by DeKalb County Government Human Services through the Office of Youth Services. Created to bring education in the area of computer science and coding, Youth Decoded is dedicated to ensuring that DeKalb's youth receive access to innovative programming that will assist in educational growth and career curiosity. Within the graphical interface, user interface of Construct 3, on the far right, as we mentioned in an earlier episode, we have the project bar. Now, the project bar, it contains all of the elements that pertain to our game or our project. All right. So the four most important folders, as you can see here, and these are accordion folders, are the layouts folder, the event sheet folder, the object types folder, and the sounds folder. Let's just jump right in. So the layouts folder, as the name implies, contains all of your layouts. When you're creating a game, your game is made up of the title, the scoreboards, the actual levels, your intro screens, your end screens. As you can see, when I double click the game layout, it brings us to our actual level that we've created. All right. Now, most games will have level 1, level 2, level 3. And we can call this level 1, level 2, level 3. In this particular game, it's a large window layout, and we are calling this the game layout. And as you can see, for every layout that you have, there is a corresponding tab. We have the intro layout. The intro layout is the splash page of your video game. And this is essentially the first thing you see when you come to your game. And then we have the end screen. Now those are your layouts. And for every time you want to create a new layout, we pretty much go ahead, and we'll have more details about this later. You go add layout. So if you wanted to add, let's say, a scoreboard, a leaderboard, the layout is the visual aspect. And so we would go to the main page, the main section here, and we will begin designing our layout accordingly. Now, for every layout that you have, there is a corresponding event sheet. The events are where the code is. So you see how we have the game, let's double click on this. So we have the game layout. Now, if you go into the game event sheet, this is all the corresponding code. This is what makes the game layout work. Similarly, if you go to the intro, then you go to the intro event sheet, this is what makes the intro event sheet work. So whenever you create a layout, for the most part, from a very fundamental viewpoint, you want to have a corresponding event sheet. Now, if you click the arrow, the folder acts as an accordion, and it will close the elements within the folder. Now, object types. The object elements essentially are sprites that make up your game, and also the different elements that are a part of your game. As you can see here, we have background, we have a dwarf, all right? The keyboard, that simply means that within this game, the keyboard will be used. Within this game, the mouse will be used. So we go to the game and we click on, let's just do it from here. Click on the dwarf. This dwarf element, it is selected on the game layout, and also the properties of the dwarf, as we mentioned in the earlier video, are all here on the left. So whenever we go to an object property, let's go ahead and go to the sun. Now we're going to get into another video later that speaks about layers. But when we clicked on the sun, as you can see, the sun is selected and the properties of the sun are over here on the left. Now what's cool is, as we mentioned in an earlier episode, the sun is located based on the position on the grid. So we move the position, then we move the sun, then the position moves on the grid. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's go back up to object types. So we have object types, and then last we have sound. And when we play the game, we will hear sound. Let's give an example. Let's go to the game and let's hit preview. Okay. Let's see. Okay, you hear that sound? Okay. And so this folder right here holds all the sound elements. Pretty straightforward. All right. So the most important folders that we will need in the project bar for our game are the layouts folder, which again holds all of your levels or layouts that we will visually create. Then the event sheets, these elements right here actually correspond to the code. And then we have our object types. Now the object types folder are made up of sprite elements and other elements that are contained within your game, including the keyboard, because we will have to press a key, or a mouse button, a mouse click. We'll have to press a mouse click. So that's the project bar. Now, how do we save a game? How do we create a game? And how do we start a game? So, for example, we briefly mentioned saving a game. And the way that we save it, again, we hit menu, project. Now we have two options. We can save it to the local drive. We click download, we type in the name. I usually put a V and I'll put version 1.0 or 1-0 means version 1. And that saves it to the local drive. The other option is when we save is to save it to our cloud space. And if I want to save it to my Google Drive, it will prompt me to enter the username that I want to use, and it will immediately open up the Google Drive. Now let's say I want to save it to a folder, call it my 2020 games. I create a folder. This is on my Google Drive, and I go find that folder. I just my 2020 games. I'm gonna go to M right here, and then hit save. Now my game has automatically saved into my Google Drive. Let's go ahead and log out, and let's close this project. And one last thing I want to do, I want to look at opening this project. I want to look at opening a project from scratch. In order to open a project, once again, you go to menu, go to project, new, you type in the name. So let's just call this Jump Bunny. Type in Jump Bunny, you hit create. And as soon as you create a new project, the default setting creates one layout and one event sheet. Now it's up to us to change the name. So we could go ahead, and instead of having layout, we can call it level 1. And then for event sheet 1, we can call it, let's just go ahead and call this right here, level 1 event sheet. That's how we create a new game from scratch. I hope you enjoyed this episode about the project timeline, about the project bar, and how to create a new project, save a new project, and construct 3. Thank you very much. Youth Decoded is a product of the DeKalb County Government Human Services Department, brought to you by the Office of Youth Services. For more information on services, please contact Mussettee H at mhill@DeKalbCountyGA.gov.